Okay, so this is a video for those of you that can't leverage trade on platforms like Blowfin, Binance, Kraken, Gemini, all the centralized exchanges that you do not have availability to because you are in the United States or you're in a state that just doesn't allow it. That is what decentralized platforms like GMX or Hyperliquid or other ones that have just popped up recently. And I just wanted to go over GMX, and specifically this is one that I've used. So I just want to use one that I'm more familiar with. I have used Hyperliquid, but it is a little bit more cumbersome. There's one more step additionally that you would have to do. So I'd rather just show you GMX because it's a little bit more straightforward. USDC, the kind that I want you to use on this platform, and I'll explain why. USDC has multiple pairs. It has Ethereum, it has layer 2s like Polygon, Arbitrum, any layer 2 that you can think of. USDC has a pair for. And that is just to increase the speed and also lower the transaction fees when you are trading. That is what L2s were created for, because Ethereum essentially is very expensive and slow to use. So don't use USDC Ethereum to trade on this platform. Step one is you have to have a wallet. Okay, preferably a MetaMask wallet seems to work the best with this platform. So if you do not know how to download and get an extension like a MetaMask wallet, there are hundreds of YouTube channels that will teach you to do so. I don't want to bore you guys with those particulars, but just know that you're going to have to do that before you get started with a platform like GMX, because it is decentralized, meaning you are using your own wallet. You're not using a centralized entity that is owned by a corporation like Coinbase, right? So that being said, you're going to download your MetaMask wallet. I'm not sure if you can see this up here, but there's several wallets that I have already. I have an OKX, which also works with this platform. And I do have Phantom, which also works with this platform, Coinbase and a couple others, but they don't necessarily connect to this gmx.io. So gmx.io is the actual URL. So go ahead and type that and start an account and get this thing going. The first thing you want to do is you're going to want to send some money over to your MetaMask wallet. So the MetaMask wallet, if you don't know, it looks like a little fox, right? So once you download it, it's going to give you a seed phrase, a 12-word seed phrase to memorize or write down somewhere where nobody can see it, and that you can actually access it just in case you want to move to another computer or another device. You can use this on your mobile. You can use this on your Apple. You can use this on your Windows operating systems. So MetaMask is pretty versatile. I like it because it uses a lot of different blockchains are compatible. I should say a lot of different blockchains are compatible with it, right? So when you click this little box here, you're going to see all the different chains that are compatible with MetaMask wallet. And, it has everything from Avalanche to Base, Binance, OP, Polygon, etc. What I used for this particular wallet is I used Arbitrum. Okay, so Arbitrum is the one that I used to send USDC into this wallet. So what you're going to do is, if it's not added already, so you can see the ones that I haven't added, they say add to the right of them. So you're just going to add whatever pair that you want to send USDC with. I believe you can use any one of these to send USDC, but I think the one that works best with the GMX platform is the Arbitrum pair. So once you have added Arbitrum, you're going to go ahead and click into it. So you're going to click into it. You're going to see the address up here. I want you to copy this address. Okay. The first one is going to be USDC. Okay. You want to make sure you have USDC in your wallet. This is what you're going to use as collateral. The second thing you're going to need, or pair that you're going to use, is Ethereum. Ethereum / ARB, that pair. Okay. So you need this for gas fees. And that is why you need both of these. Okay. To operate GMX correctly, you're going to need both of these pairs, one for gas and one to actually use to trade. So you're going to use your USDC like it's a dollar, right? The best place to go, in my experience, and why I even have a Coinbase wallet, is for the USDC pairs, because they have all of them, okay, as well as all the Ethereum pairs, which is nice. And it's also pretty seamless to use. It's pretty liquid. They have a good support team. I like them to have any kind of crypto on. I don't have much in here. I just, like I said, I just use it for USDC. So I buy some every once in a while to send to other places. So What you're going to do is you're going to come to My Assets, and once you buy your USDC, you want to go to the Cash tab, okay, and then you're going to select USDC. Once you have selected USDC, you're going to see all your options here, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to send USDC, okay, and you're going to paste that address, the one that I copied from your Arbitrum One wallet here in MetaMask, okay, this one on top. Go ahead and click it. You're going to paste it into this search bar, and you're going to see the last time I sent stuff over was 5 weeks ago. And so here are all the pairs, right? You can send Ethereum USDC, but you don't want to do that, okay, because it's very expensive and the transactions are very slow. So you're going to go with one of the L2s, okay? So you're going to go, my recommendation is Arbitrum, okay? So you're going to select Arbitrum. It's going to give you a little warning here. Does the wallet that you're sending this to accept USDC on Arbitrum? And it does, okay, because I just showed you. So go ahead and select the amount. I would send somewhere between $100 and $1,000, okay? Test it out always. Make sure it works. Send $5, and if it works, continue to send. And then what I want you to do, okay, after you send your USDC, like I said, send anywhere from 100 to 1,000. And once you have the USDC in the wallet, then you're going to have to send some Ethereum. So go back to My Assets, okay? Choose Ethereum. If you don't have it in your wallet, in your Coinbase, you can just search it, okay? Search Ethereum. Okay, once you have Ethereum, you're going to do the same process. You're going to come here. You're going to click Send Crypto. You're going to paste the same wallet. The same wallet takes both pairs. You're going to pick Ethereum this time. Ethereum on the Arbitrum blockchain. So you're going to select that, same process. I would say put in $20 and then do your two-factor authentication, however you got this set up, and then just send it. $20 should last you a while because it just takes pennies, right? Because you're using Arbitrum Ethereum, not Ethereum. Ethereum. Okay. So now that you have both in your wallet, now you can go ahead and go to GMX, and then you can connect your wallet. This button up here. Select MetaMask and hit confirm, and you should be in. Okay, so cool. Now I have my wallet connected. So from there, you're going to put your collateral. How much collateral do you want to put in? The total amount you want to put in for the trade. Okay, and so the total amount you're going to put in for the trade is your collateral times the amount of leverage you want to use. So if you want to, you can use anywhere from 1x, almost like no leverage, right? Which would be a 1x is like 400, right? You can see it at the bottom, almost 400. So 1x basically 1 times 400, right? Which is 400. All the way up to 75x, right? Which would be $20,000. Okay, so you got to be careful with this. Okay, you got to be careful. Don't go too crazy with the leverage. But you can see how it allows you to bet with a lot more money. Okay, because if this just goes up a little bit, right? 5%. What's 5% of 28,000, right? Was 10%. 10% would be 2,800, right? So you make like 1,500 on a 5% move, right? Which also means that 15% will completely liquidate your $400 of collateral, because this is essentially what you're using, okay, as collateral. Now you don't have to use all your collateral. You could always set a stop loss. So let me show you how to do that. Now I'm not going to go 75 just for this example. I'm going to go, let's do something like, you could also type it in this box here. Let's do 30x, all right? And so with 30x, now I am using ton as for this example. And let's say you want a short ton, okay? Say you want a short ton from where it's at right now. So say you want to bet from here, okay, we're at what, 3.28. Say you want to bet that it's going to come down from 3.28 all the way down to 3.21, right? So you're going to put 3.21, okay? And then you're going to type it in here. That's where you want to take your profit, right? 3.21. I already had it in here, but that would be $247. Man, it was like 400 earlier because it just got closer to that goal. It's now worth a lot less, right? Because you don't have to go as far to hit that goal. So the stop loss is always going to be above, right? So say you want to put a stop loss, you want to put it somewhere around this area. You don't think it's going to come all the way back up. But if it does, just in case, you put a stop loss 3.35, right? Oh, I had 3.36. So let's bring it a little further down since it's down. Let's go 3.34. So right now it's not such a good risk to reward, right? So $3, right? Let's say $3. So let's say your stop loss is somewhere around 3.30, right? 330, which is about there. You don't think it's going to come back to this little local high, right? So you just say it's just going to keep dropping. And if it goes the other way, at least it'll hit a stop loss, right? To make it more juicy, let's say I want it to go, I'm going to bet that it's going to go down to $3 from where it's at right now. Okay, which would bring it all the way, quite a ways down. So you'd have to bet. Like, that probably wouldn't be the smartest bet, just based on what I'm seeing. But this is all hypothetical, right? Let's just bet. So $3 is like right here. It's not out of the question that it could come back to this trend line. That's actually a pretty good trend line, right at 3. So it could come down to that trend line, right? So $3. So that is a nice risk to reward, right? You always want to, if you're going to put in a leverage bet, make sure you have it set to where there's a good risk to reward, right? You want a 5-to-1 ratio, or 10. This is even better. This is a 10-to-1 ratio. You make 1,000 and you're risking $86, right? Now that's a little tight for a stop loss. It could get stopped out pretty easy. You might want to go a little bit further, maybe say 3, 4, 3, 1. Say $119 to make $1,000. The risk, you're risking 119 to make 1,000 because you're betting that it'll come down here. Now maybe you want to exit early. You can exit early if you want to. So now that you have everything set up, okay, you have your short, you selected short. You're going to select market every time. You're going to put in your collateral, the amount you want to use to collateralize, put as margin. You're going to pick your leverage, okay, whatever you want to multiply this by, right? Because now 30 times 400 equals $11,000. You're going to put your take profit, okay, which since you're going short, you want to make sure you take profit on the way down at $3. And then you also want to set a stop loss at 3.31, which is not that far from where it's at. That's a really tight stop loss, really tight, okay? Maybe too tight for this scenario. But again, this is all hypothetical, guys. I'm just showing you how to use this platform. And then once you're ready to go, you can come down here. You could actually check some other stuff that might be important to you. The fee for this trade is going to be $7. Okay. But again, if you make 1,000, that $7 is nothing, right? It's a good risk reward, a little pocket change. You're going to lose a little bit. If it works, then awesome. Of course, you're going to check all the other stuff here, right? You're going to see if it's overbought, which it is. And this is on the hourly, so this might be a good time to short. So there's a lot of factors that you want to take into consideration, but that's how you set it up. Now, once you press short, you're going to have your position, okay? You click here on the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see position. You click that, it's going to show your profit loss. GMX has a little floating box up here with where you're at. It'll have, say, plus 100, or it'll say negative 20, wherever you're at. I think Bluefin and GMX both have that. And then your orders is your stop loss and take profit. You can adjust those in this tab. And then you're going to see a little box here that says close order, close position. When you click it, it's going to show you a box with all the statistics. And you can say max close or 50% close of your position. You don't have to close the whole thing. You can take little profits, close 25%, close 15%, whatever you want to do. Okay, you can do by clicking that close position or close order. Your orders are your take profit, stop loss, position is the whole amount that you bet, okay, and where you're at any given point in time. Now, it doesn't have the best UI, it doesn't have all the drawing tools, so I like to have TradingView set up right next to it, right? I want to make sure you guys are comfortable. You guys can find a platform to use. So this is another option. If you guys can't get on those other centralized platforms, this is one. It's a little bit more, a few more steps, but nothing too crazy. Okay, nothing that you couldn't do in 30 minutes. So I hope you guys found something in this video that you liked. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.